Hey everybody, it's Chris Kirkpatrick and welcome to the Life 180 channel. And for this video, I want to talk about something that's really important. And that is, I've been getting a lot of questions about how to manage debt during this pandemic. The reality is a lot of people are scared. They're uncertain about what's going on in the world right now. They don't know what to do. Maybe you have a job and you've been one of the fortunate people. Maybe you've gotten your job back and maybe you were furloughed, maybe you're still unemployed and you're uncertain about what's going on with the new unemployment rules that are coming through, the new CARES Act being launched, or the new HEALS Act, I suppose is what they're calling it, whatever it is. But the bottom line is there are a lot of programs out there right now, whether you are unemployed, whether you are working currently, there are a lot of programs that exist, not necessarily designed to help you pay down your debt, but ultimately that you can leverage to help pay down your debt. There's a lot of content. I've created content. A lot of people have created a lot of content on how to take advantage of the environment and create wealth, how to leverage real estate, how to build businesses, how to do all sorts of crazy things to gain access to capital. But the purpose of this video is to really serve the people who aren't in a position to be able to leverage a lot of the higher end things. You're more concerned about survival. Maybe you're more concerned about being able to ultimately tap in and be able to basically shore up your financial foundation. I'm a big believer that you need to build your financial foundation first before you can start worrying about creating wealth anyway. So this is a great opportunity to kind of solidify that and take the next steps forward. So what I'm going to be doing is talking about a couple different ways and a couple different programs that you can leverage and get into to be able to attack that high interest toxic debt, whether it's credit cards or whether it's bad auto loan or whether it's ultimately a bad business loan or any kind of debt that you're paying higher interest on than you should be. And when I say higher interest, I mean anything over 6 to 8% is what I would call toxic debt. And so you want to make sure that we crush that out of your life. And we eliminate it as quickly as possible, leveraging the programs that exist. Now, I think that almost everybody who watches this is going to be able to do some of this stuff, if not every single step and every single suggestion that I give to you. Most people are going to be able to take advantage of on some level. There will be some warnings. I want to warn you. This is not meant to be specific advice for your life. I don't know you. I don't know your circumstances. I'm not giving you specific advice here. You will want to make sure in some of these circumstances that you talk and speak with your accountant and make sure that you proceed accordingly and make sure that you have everything, you do everything utilizing the proper channels. Do not take shortcuts, because if you do, it could come back to bite you. So let's get into this, and I'm excited to start talking about this and get into the details of how you can start paying down your toxic debt. Now, number one, first things first, is the CARES Act. 2202, Section 2202 of the CARES Act basically gives every single person in this country who has a qualified account, whether it's a 401k, IRA, 403b, TSP, 457, like any of those qualified accounts, it gives every single person access to be able to pull out a distribution or take loans of up to $100,000 and not have to pay the 10% penalty. So here's the cool part. There's some caveats to this, and I'm going to get into those, and I want to talk about qualifications. I've actually gone through, I've included the link below. You can see here, this is a snapshot of the website, the irs.gov site. I've gone through, I've taken a lot of notes to try to simplify everything for you, but obviously I want to help you, and the notes are below. I'm going to read off of my second monitor right now. I just want to talk to you about some of the questions that I think from notes that people have, and I normally don't read off my screen, but I want to do this because obviously I'm trying to create all this content and be able to serve you in the best way possible, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So question, I guess, is a lot of people are wondering if you qualify. So first and foremost, most people are going to qualify. I'll tell you that right now. Most people are going to qualify. So here's the deal. You qualify if you are diagnosed with COVID-19. You qualify if your spouse or a dependent is diagnosed with COVID-19. You qualify if you're experiencing adverse financial consequences as a result of being quarantined, being furloughed or laid off, or having your work hours reduced. You qualify if you're experiencing adverse financial consequences as a result of closing or reducing hours of a business that you own or operate. And here's a key thing. They make a note in there that they have the opportunity to expand this program. They're not going to contract it. They're going to expand it potentially. But those are the starting requirements. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit more detail because you may be thinking like, maybe I'm not quite sure if I meet those criteria. It'll make sense in a second, okay? So when can you take the distribution? Anywhere from January 1st, 2020. If you've already done it this year, you can actually qualify for this. Make sure you speak with your accountant and you make sure that you don't pay the 10% penalty for accessing that money, and make sure you do that properly. If you did it maybe pre-pandemic and you didn't realize this was coming in March, if you did it between January and March, that window, make sure you can go through and take advantage of that and avoid that 10% penalty. And then you can do it through December 30th of 2020. Now, once again, they could expand this program. I wouldn't bank on it. They say they can expand the program. A lot of people are wondering, do you have to pay the 10% early withdrawal penalty? The answer is, as long as it's a coronavirus-related distribution and you are claiming that it's a coronavirus-related distribution, you do not have to pay that penalty. Will you need to pay taxes? The answer is yes. It's a qualified account. You're always going to have to pay earned income. But because if it's a coronavirus-related distribution, here's the beautiful thing. I'm not sure if you're aware how this works. And once again, you're going to want to speak to your accountant on the specifics of this. Typically, when you take a withdrawal or a distribution from your 401k or any qualified account, you have to claim that as earned income, right? Now, when you claim earned income, it usually has to happen that year on your taxes. So let's say you had $70,000 of earned income for the year. If you take a $30,000 distribution, that will bump your earned income up to $100,000. So now you're not only paying taxes on that $30,000, you have to pay now taxes in the tax bracket instead of at the $70,000 income range, at the $100,000 income range, right? So that may, if you're at a threshold for the tax thresholds, that may bump you up into a higher tax bracket. So it may not just make you pay taxes on that $30,000, it may bump you up and make you pay more taxes on all $70,000 of your income. So that could have extreme adverse effects, right, by taking that $30,000 distribution. So that's why taking strategic distributions out of your 401k is really important, right? This year, and who knows what they're going to do for 2021 and when this is going to end, but what we know right now with the CARES Act is that they have this Section 2202 that if you claim that it's a coronavirus-related distribution, that if you took the $30,000 out, they're not going to charge you taxes on the $30,000 of earned income this year. They're going to allow you to spread that $30,000 of earned income over a 3-year period. So you will claim $10,000 in 2020, $10,000 in 2021, and $10,000 in 2022. Once again, speak to your accountant about this. But that is a hugely beneficial program that I think everybody should be taking a look at. I don't know anybody. I can think of a lot of reasons that I would want to take a loan or take a distribution from my 401k and have access to for that. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the debt. And from that perspective, that's a good thing. Can you pay your money back? The answer is yes. If you do choose not to take a distribution, you could take a loan or you could pay the money back. And that, of course, would make it so you're not required to pay the taxes on it at all. If you pay it back, you have up to 3 years to pay it back. Once again, the details on that are in the link that I provide in the description below. There's a lot of people who have questions. Now, not every single plan is required to adopt Section 2202 of the CARES Act, but what that simply means is not every plan is required to allow you to take a loan. Even if they don't allow you to take a loan, you are able to take a distribution. Now, if they do allow you to take a loan and you're somebody who doesn't want to take a distribution, it can still work really well. If you have $20,000 in high interest credit card debt, maybe you have a plan that never allowed you to take a loan before out of your 401k while you were currently employed, and there's a ton of plans out there that do that. It's one of the things that I can't stand about them in the first place. Because of the coronavirus and what's going on in the world right now, you have the ability in a lot of plans to be able to take a loan against your 401k when you never could before. So, and a lot of times those loans you're going to be able to take at like 4, 3 to 5% in that range, right? So if you could do that, think about it this way, and you got 18, 20% high interest credit cards, you could take a loan against your 401k, pay the 18% down. You're basically refinancing your own credit card debt. You're paying it back to your 401k, your qualified plan or whatever, and it's much more efficient. You're going to cut your interest expense immensely simply by doing that. So it's key to understand that is there. So what are my distribution rights? I wrote this down. I copy and pasted this from there. And once again, I have the link in the description below, but I'm going to read this to you straight from the IRS website here. For example, under Section 2202 of the CARES Act, a Section 401k plan may permit a coronavirus-related distribution even if it would occur before an otherwise permittable distribution, right? Distributable event, I should say, such as a severance from employment, disability, or attainment of age 59 and a half, right? So that's basically saying, even if you don't qualify for those things, if you don't lose your job, if you don't get a new job, like if you don't leave that place of employment, basically, usually it's an event that allows you to have access to that money. If you don't have a disability, if you don't, if once you're 59 and a half, you have access to your money. So if none of those things are happening, you can still qualify, and you can have access to your money. Do you need to prove hardship? The answer is, well, let me just read once again. The administrator of an eligible retirement plan may rely on an individual's certification that the individual satisfies the conditions to be a qualified individual in determining whether a distribution is a coronavirus-related distribution. So what is that saying? That is saying that this is an honor system. This is saying that if you believe that you are suffering or struggling because of the coronavirus, you can access your cash. Now, I want to get into that for a second, because what qualifies hardship? Uncertainty qualifies by definition on these codes in the IRS website. Uncertainty qualifies as hardship. I don't know about you. I lie in the camp that every single person exists in a state of uncertainty right now, more uncertainty than we've ever seen in our lives, right? So we want to make sure that you can self-attest that you qualify, and unless the person who administers your plan knows something about you where you're raking in the money and you're making more money now than you ever have or something of that nature, and you really have no reason to be financially struggling on any level, then you're going to have access to this money, and you honestly would be a fool to not take it, in my opinion, to not take advantage of the programs that exist on the 401k or qualified plan level. So that is the first thing that I think, if you have a qualified plan and you have debt, you need to be leveraging your qualified plan by December 30th, 2020 to be able to take advantage of this, to do it. All right, so that's first and foremost. Secondly, let's talk about deferrals of payments, forbearances, and all the different ways that you can take advantage of those programs, right? So there's a couple things that are going on right now. The federal government has taken all student loans, and they've allowed you to put those in forbearance. They've taken your mortgage. They've allowed you to put those into forbearance. They've taken auto loans. They've allowed you to put those into forbearance. And now you want to be really careful when you're doing anything with auto loans, because once again, it's a depreciating asset. So if you have high interest auto loans, and you have let's say you're paying $400 a month for a car payment, and you got a 7% interest rate, and you want to put that into forbearance, but yet you're driving a lot, so you're basically running that car down and you're not paying for it. That can backfire on you. You're going to kick that can down the road if you do that. And that can really come back to bite you if you don't handle it properly. Now, if you have great credit or had great credit coming into this coronavirus pandemic, and you had maybe a low interest like 0% or 1.9% interest rate, that's a situation where you may want to consider putting your loan into forbearance. And what happens is you can take that $400 that you were paying towards your car, your auto loan, and you can pivot that $400 into paying down your credit card debt. Now, the one thing I want to warn you on is, if you do that with your car, don't don't just spend the $400, right? Like, don't just waste it. Don't be stupid with it. Make sure you're responsible. Make sure you do all of this stuff inside of a plan. You take that cash flow and you just pivot it and you reposition it to pay down the higher toxic debt. And then, and like you help ladder that in, and kind of like it's this waterfall effect of paying that down. And then as you eliminate some of that other debt, it's going to increase your cash flow, and you can keep doing that in other areas. Now, student loan debt. Everybody who's got federal student loan debt, that's been able to be deferred through the end of the year. You need to be taking, I believe every single person should be taking advantage of that. If you're not already, that is that. Now, the second thing, or the third thing I should say, is your mortgage. Now, I'm a big believer. If you have toxic debt and you have a mortgage, you need to be calling your mortgage company, speaking to them, and not doing a loan modification. They're going to talk to you about all these different programs they have. You want to make sure that you take advantage of the CARES Act, the forbearance program that it allows, and you can go through and see here. And actually, I think I pulled up a link on the Fannie Mae on the payment deferral link, and you can see down below. Actually, yes, I have a link down here. If you have a federally guaranteed loan, which almost every single person who has a mortgage has a federally guaranteed loan through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or an FHA loan. And all the programs work a little differently. I got the link for the Fannie Mae. I went through the Freddie Mac and the FHA. They work a little differently. You can go check out the rules and regulations for how those programs work. But ultimately, just to keep it simple, every single person has the ability to defer their mortgage for up to 180 days at a time. That's 6 months, everybody. That's 6 months. You can defer your mortgage payment by 6 months at a time, and you can renew it once for 6 months. And this is during a covered period. So here's what the covered period says. It says you have at least 120 days after the date on which the national emergency concerning the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19 outbreak, terminates. So, meaning it's currently active at the time I'm filming this video, right? So I'm filming this video on August 13th. So as of now, it's an active pandemic still. So at minimum, for 120 days from now, you can start for a 6-month deferral on your mortgage, and there's nothing your mortgage company can say to stop you. All you have to do is call and say you're experiencing financial hardship. And what is financial hardship? Once again, going back to that definition, if you are experiencing uncertainty and stress or anxiety or whatever about that, or even just you're just don't want to deal with the uncertainty, that is financial hardship. You can take your mortgage and you can put it on deferral. And if you have a $2,000 a month mortgage, for instance, you can take that $2,000 and you can just jam it into your credit card debt. You could pay it down. You could pay it down. If it's 6 months, that's $12,000 that you could accelerate your credit card debt paid down. And so think about that. That's just, if you had nothing but $200 in student loans, a $400 car payment, and that's $600, and $2,000, that's $2,600 a month, right? That is, let me do the math here, that is $15,600, I think, in 6 months that you could pay down toxic credit card debt. I don't know about you, but for most households, because of this pandemic, you'd be able to be completely out of credit card debt and in a better financial position, and your cash flow, that would be able to allow you to have your financial house in order ultimately. If you haven't watched my video on the Life 180 pyramid video, I'm going to link it above here, and I'll put that down in the link as well. You need to watch that about financial structure. This is the first step to make sure you get out of debt, make sure you have your guaranteed income, your savings in place first, but you can't start saving until you get that debt handled. And so that is it. So make sure, just to touch on those 4 things, or I guess 2 things, is making sure that you look at the 401k programs out there that you can utilize and leverage to have access to, whether it's through a distribution or whether it's through a loan provision, to be able to have access to that money to pay down your debt, and maybe refinance, or maybe just take a distribution. And then 2 is look in the forbearance programs, whether it's your mortgage, whether it's your car, whether it's your student loans, whatever it is, look into those programs and make sure that you take advantage of them. You put those on hold, be smart with the money, reposition that cash to paying down your toxic debt. And remember, with your mortgage, do not do a loan modification. That is a horrible thing to do. That will hurt your credit. it will burn you ultimately in the long run. If you do it according to the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac links that you'll see in the description below, follow those guidelines, and you will not be hurt. It cannot hurt your credit. If you're looking to refinance your house anytime soon, or if you're looking to buy a new house, you need to make sure that you get out of forbearance and that you start paying for 3 months before you can qualify. So you want to make sure you're careful with that. I think most people aren't going to be dealing with that right now. So if that is you, just make sure you're careful with that. Otherwise, you can literally take it and you can pop it to the back of the loan. You can pop it to the back of the mortgage, or you'll have to pay it back when you sell your house if it's before the end of the mortgage. So it's a great way to kick the can down the road. And when you take inflation into the equation with the low interest rates we have right now on mortgages, it's basically like free money doing this, and you'd be a fool not to take advantage of the program if you have a lot of debt issues. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. I will do my best to engage with every single person on every single comment, and feel free to reach out. God bless. Best of luck to you. Go out and crush it, and we'll talk soon.